Welcome back. I'm here with our resident financial expert, Derieck Hodges of Anchor Point Wealth Management. Good morning, Derieck. Thanks so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure. And so it's that time of the year. People are thinking about college, those high school seniors that just graduated, or even high school seniors going into their senior year this coming year. They're going to start thinking about college. What's the best advice that you have for one of those students about saving for college right now?
Yeah, I think it's so much about intentionality. Back when I went to school, college was pretty inexpensive, and so if you graduated and then kind of didn't end up using your degree in a field that made kind of a good link, it really wasn't that big a deal. Now when you start talking about college costs being 20, 30, 40, 60, 80,000 a year, you've got to be super intentional and laser focused. And so I would say, number one, be really aware of the costs that you're going to be incurring and what do I really plan to do with that? Is that my passion? Because you don't want to find out in your third year of college that I misfired. And so kind of related to saving money, there's a lot of great instruments. The 529 plans I think need to be certainly on most of our radars. But I think the big thing I would say is be incredibly knowledgeable of the financial aid systems at whatever school you go to.
Yeah.
If you take Southeast Missouri State as an example, go on their website. There are so many endowed scholarships, and they may not apply until you're a sophomore or a junior, but I would look for every dollar of financial aid I could get. And there are some of those scholarships that they have a hard time finding people to award them to. And they might only be $500, but most of us would cross the street to pick up $500. And I think it's like that. It's like finding money. So being real mindful of the costs that you're incurring and looking for all the assistance that you can get.
I remember when I was applying to colleges and thinking about scholarships, there was a scholarship website that you could get a scholarship for being left-handed, and there's money out there. You just have to apply for it, and who knows, you may end up getting it. Would you say that the best way to pay for college, would it be saving every single penny as a kid, or is it looking at those loans and FAFSA and federal student aid? Would that be the best way?
Well, I think no doubt the earlier people start, the better. Now, one of the things that I get a little thoughtful about is, if you think, okay, I'm gonna start saving when my child's born for college. Well, what if college is not the right choice? And technical schools are often a really great pathway for many people. So you want to think in terms of, I probably want to start accumulating a decent amount of money, but give myself some flexibility of what if my child doesn't go to college? What if they do something else? And so 529 plans, as good as they are, they do kind of pigeonhole you for higher education. A few little exceptions to that, but I would absolutely start early, accumulate a lot, but also become very knowledgeable of debt and make sure you understand the debt rules.
Right. And I know that's something for college graduates. If you do apply for student loans and anything of that sort, you technically don't have to start paying on those. I think it's until 6 months after you graduate, or you don't go to college anymore, whether you graduate or not. Would you say the best advice would be to start early if you can, or should you wait until 6 months after you graduate?
Well, I think that's the interesting part. We're in this big deferral period right now that is set to end at the end of August, I believe. And it all sounds good to have things in deferral, but I would tend to think it makes more sense if you think you're going to have to pay that debt, that you need to start as early as you can. Now, I think there's, one of the challenges is right now we have that, the Biden proposal to strike $10,000 of student loan debt and 20 for certain recipients. If you think your debt's going to be erased, okay, well, maybe it doesn't make sense to pay. But I would say if you have $100,000 of student loan debt, I would get on that as early as I could.
Oh yeah, for sure. And for high school seniors, obviously they should start thinking about this probably now, because that's going to be here very, very soon. What would be your best advice to not, it can be kind of daunting, looking at colleges and seeing, oh my gosh, it's going to be $25,000 a year. How can I possibly do that? Is there an approach to take? Should you, go into it knowing that it's all going to work out? How do you go into all that?
I think, I look back when I was a kid in high school, we really didn't think a lot about that stuff until
Right.
about the 11th grade. Now I think it's shifted down to 9th grade, 10th grade, and I love that. I think it's a great idea to start getting your child directed to what they're passionate about. Get them more awareness. You know, I think shadowing opportunities, maybe a little tricky for high school students, but as they get older, give them experience, shoot, people interested in this career field.
Yeah.
You bring them in here and let them see that. I think it's important for kids to start to develop their own sense of direction, and then that way they can start identifying what education track makes sense to them.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, Derek, that was all such great information for, if you're getting ready to head to college, or if you're a senior, or even like Derek just said, if you're a freshman in high school, it is not too late, or early, I should say, to start thinking about college and how all of that works. Derek, thank you so much. We'll be back in just a bit.